So guys, today we're going to talk about the legendary Serum. Serum's got a second version, version 2, Serum 2. And I've got it right here. And I got it for free because I already owned Serum, the first version of Serum. So today we're going to check it out. It's not the first time I've seen it. I've been playing around with it a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys what I've learned from it so you guys can see what it does. And I think it's absolutely immense. In fact, there is so much new stuff in there that it's just literally impossible to explain it all because it's so huge, the update. But in saying that, it doesn't really destroy the feeling. It feels like it's a much better version of Serum. I guess the only way for you guys to know is for me to show you. What's really cool is because we've got Serum 2 here, the old Serum's still here. So if you've got old projects or anything with the old Serum VST, you're going to lose anything by getting Serum 2. It's literally another plugin. So let's just drag that into a MIDI track and check it out. So first things you'll notice here are the, there's 3 oscillators. So this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with the oscillators. So they look relatively familiar. The look and feel is pretty nice. And you can see here, you can really stretch that screen and it just looks beautiful. I really like looking at it so big, but I don't know if it's going to fit on the screen, but basically, oscillator A and B are there. Now we've got also a third oscillator in oscillator C, which is super cool. And what I really like is it's got that same sort of look and feel to it, but under the hood, there's just so much happening. So for example, we can see here, we've got some new shapes. So we've got, for example, vowel shapes. Let's have a little play. Okay, so we've got that vowel shape coming here. So we'll just play any one of these. So we'll just do this retro speaking one. So there's going to be quite a few new presets and styles. And not just that, you've got new warp styles here. So for example, you've got new FM. So the old FM is now called PD. So PD is the old FM. And you've got distortion as well. So for example, we've got FM8. We can add a distortion here as well. Distortion, say a soft clip. Let's just hear it with a bit of unison first. Next to unison, you've got this new button here. So you've got like unison on steroids. So you've got all these modes. So you've got super mode, linear mode. Let's try super mode. And within super mode, you can actually define the width of the unison. So it's quite wide, but we can sort of go to 50%. Reducing that width. By the way, I'm holding a microphone at the same time as playing, so it may be a little bit off in terms of the delay between me talking and playing. Then you've got DWT position, wavetable position that is, and warp 1 and warp 2 sound options. And in addition, you have this range here. This is for stack. So if we add stack, just one stack, thin. But what is very different is the wavetable. Now we've got multi-sample, sample, granulator, and spectral. So, but these are all new, right? So let's quickly check multi-sample. And we're going to just go with one of the factory presets. And, you know, interestingly, Serum's got some synth and string presets, which don't sound too bad. So, and it's also got piano presets. Obviously, we'll just take the unison down here, so it just sounds kind of normal again. So what's happening here is you can see in here there's all these little sort of dots, and you can see that each one is basically a sample. It's multi-sampled, and on the lower level you've got the lower velocities and higher velocities as well. So it's a multi-sample. And in addition to that, you can create your own multi-sample as a SFZ file, which I'm not going to show right now. Then you have a basic sample. So if we just go into any sort of sample here, and we'll just bring in a vocal sample. Hopefully we've got one to use. This one by Decap. That'll do. So we just bring that in. So yeah, you see the vocal sample there. And obviously you can mash that up, so you know you can add some unison to that. For example, here you've got these preset options. So you can have a forward loop. So there's just a loop going forward, but it will just loop that sort of range, whatever you select there. So let's go for that. And then you've got reverse loop, tailed loops, an exit loop on release. So that's pretty cool. The normal one shot. I'm just going to stick to forward loop for now. And we're just going to bring it right down to, don't know if you can actually get it any smaller than this. Oh yeah, so you can, obviously you can set the starting position as well. So let's just set the starting position to just be here. And obviously the ending position. Make it even smaller. And now we'll just add a bit of unison here. Okay, so that's pretty cool, but there's a lot of other things you can do that are super cool. For example, you've got this filter routing, which I think is really good. So you can send a certain amount to the filter here. The filter's switched off. Let's put it on first. We'll just start with a standard filter. And we'll send some amount to it. Yeah, so you can do some very intricate routing. I haven't even really scratched the tip of the iceberg. There's quite a lot more coming with this. So you can send that to the filter. And actually, if you look at the filter itself, there are also some new filter options here. Like some of the flange options, for example, I believe are new. So we'll just set these up. And in addition to that, we can also send it to FX. Now, FX is completely revamped and it's really good. So we'll just quickly have a look at the FX. So what we have here is all of the FX options. And most of these are similar to what we had before, but there's a lot of presets within the FX. So for example, if we just select chorus. So we just use chorus. So you can just change any of these sort of elements in the chorus, the rates, etc. And within the actual reverb, you've got presets, so different types of chorus effects. So nice bass. Probably with this particular sound, you're not going to hear any difference. So let's just go back to the oscillator here, and we'll go back to the wavetable, and we'll just select something like this. Bring that unison down. And we'll get rid of that filter. Okay, so let's go back to the FX. And yeah, so you have all these different factory presets for each effect, which is really nice. But in addition to that, we can, I don't know if you can drag this. Yeah, you can drag this into bus 1, right? So the routing options are pretty insane here. So we've got bus 1. So if we go back to the oscillator here, say we set 2 oscillators up, we'll make this one here just a sample and just take a preset sample sound, just flute. Flute will do. Just reduce that level. So say, for example, we wanted flute to go to... Oh, here we are. Sorry. I'm quite new to this. So say we want it to go to bus 1. Yeah, so we're going to send flute to bus 1. If we go to the FX, we can see in bus 1 we have the chorus effect. It's only really going to affect that flute part of the flute oscillator, if that makes sense. So let's add some other effects. So for example, in bus 1 we can add reverb. And just take another factory preset here. So hear that? So that play, it's really only affecting this sample here. So I thought that was pretty cool. And if we just go back to the mixer, just in general, mixers basically for oscillator A and B. And for example, if we don't want anything to go to oscillator B, we just want oscillator B to be routed to the FX. That's all that will happen, right? So if we want it to route to the filter, and then we send a certain amount to the filter, we can do that here. You could see you could also do it up here as well. We can do it here as well. And you can send however much you want to bus 1 and 2. Okay, and you can see straight away in bus 1 you've got those 2 effects. In bus 2 we could put something else, you know. So it's kind of like Ableton, the way the routing works, but it's pretty powerful. In addition, what I really like is it's a place where you can see all of the kind of mixing options, and it's really clean looking. So we can actually add some sub here and do our routing here. So yeah, that's too much noise, so we can, you know, just easily bring down the amount of noise here. So I think that's a pretty cool option, and obviously, just like the other oscillators, they're basically oscillators. Sub and noise are basically oscillators that we can send to bus 1 or 2 or to filter 1 or 2. So in FX you can add something called splitter. So you can split mid-side, low-high, low-mid-high. So just do low-high. And see how it's organized here? You can actually assign, for example, the reverb to just be in the highs. Well, for some reason I've set it to the lows. That's it. And maybe the chorus to the lows. I don't know if that's going to sound any good. But so if we're sending this to the not to the filter. We're going to send it to nothing, and we're going to go to the mixer, and yeah. So you can see here when we look at the FX that these effects are split between low and high. And you can obviously change the frequency banding split. I mean, that makes quite a big difference as well. I'm just going to bring that piano back, which I liked. And we're just going to go back and just reduce the noise. And by the way, we should actually see there's actually some new noise options here. Okay, so we've got this lovely piano going. Let's just switch that noise off for now. And there's 2 really cool features. Once again, it reminds me a bit of Ableton in the way they're constructed. So the first one is ARP. So it's got an arpeggiator now. You see if I can remember how it works. There you go. It says we have to switch it on. And it is synced to the DAW. So if you slow down, you can see here we're slowing it down. It will slow down. And it's got this really nice interface. You can do basically anything you can do with most normal arpeggiators. You can change the rate here. You can add triples, dotted notes, launch quantize. It's got a very basic preset bank. Just listen to it. Okay, that's one, but there's all of these options here. So maybe it's not that basic. Yeah, so if you play a chord, it will just loop that chord around. This is E minor. Let's just try this one here. So we're just going to move on to the thing called clip here. Clip is, I think there's no other way of describing it other than it's like a sequencer. So, and it's quite well constructed. So you basically can just key notes in. And let's try this. I haven't done this very often, but I'm pretty sure this should work. It can go polyphonic, so I can add multiple notes on top of each other and different lengths. Now, what's really cool about this is it's kind of scale aware, so we can change this to E minor. So I think that's pretty cool. And then you've got a velocity controller here. And all of these options here in terms of chance options, octave, semi. I'm not going to go through them. There's lots of options there. And I do like the way they're kind of organized like this. So you can kind of trigger these yourselves if you've got a MIDI controller. So I think that's not too bad. And you can actually play them here on this little clip thing. So you can actually assign notes. Now this is Serum, so it probably sounds better with a synth sound than a piano sound. But I think you get where we're coming from here. It is a relatively very useful, I wouldn't say a little bit useful, it's a very useful function. So we've got mono, poly, we've got edit modes, and yeah, we've got the initial patch. So the other thing I wanted to show you here is you can actually just record your own sequence, right? So let's just do that. So that something like that could be really useful. So that's recorded randomly in clip 11, but we can record something in clip 1. So I guess what you can do is you can go from one to another. We'll play them at the same time. Now my understanding is you can, and I've never actually done this before, my understanding is you can actually send the MIDI out. So what you can do, so this is LFO1, we can assign some of these shapes. So we can assign, for example, X. So this is an XY matrix, the way it's described. We can assign X, say, to WT position. I have no idea how this is going to sound. We're going to assign Y to the blender. So that's a pretty interesting preset. There's this one here as well. So, and like Serum 1, it has kind of this range setting as well. So we're going to assign XY to the cutoff, for example. But anyway, that's it. This is Serum 2. And as I said, there is a lot more here under the hood than what I'm letting on. The more you look at it, the more amazing this thing is. It's just a superb update. Probably one of the best, if not the best update I've ever seen in a synth. And the fact that it's free makes it just ridiculous, in my opinion. I mean, they're not making a lot of money from this by the looks of it, because I think almost everyone in the world has Serum. So, kudos to Steve Duda and that team for coming up with this bit of genius. See ya.